Masechah Shabbos Daf Kuf Mem Hey. The Gemara says, the Rav says, Kvoshim, you have pickled vegetable that you Sechita, you squeezed it. Legufon mutter, if you want to eat the vegetable itself and you want to get out the juice, it's mutter because you don't want the juice, and it's not Sechita. Lemeimehem, it's potter. Rashi says the reason why it's potter and it's not ulcer when you're squeezing the vegetable is because the juice came from outside. It's not a juice that comes from the pri itself. So therefore, it's not Sechita midaraisa. On that, Tosfos asks from a Gemara before, on the Kuf Mem Aleph, that there's a Gzeira, Lahaduri Udra Pumedesheisha, because Gzeira Shem Yischait, over there we're talking about water that comes external, not from the beged itself. So you see that even water that's not from the Guf Hadavar is also Sechita. So the Or Sameach answers Rashi and it's matmiya on Tosfos. What's Tosfos' kasha on Rashi? He says it's mavur in the Rambam that there's two separate halachas in Sechita. A Sechita of peiros, that it's told of mefarik, you're taking out the juice from the fruit, and then there's a Sechita from begodim that's not mefarik, it's a told of libon. The Rambam's mashmas two separate halachas, so according to that, it's tzorich in what's Tosfos' kasha on Rashi, that although Rashi says that when you have vegetables and the water comes not from the pri itself, it's not a told of mefarik, that's only the gabi mefarik. However, libon is a totally separate halacha. You're cleaning and you've been malabin the beged, so for sure, even from water that comes by alma is also chayv. The Gemara says that Rabbi Yochanan holds that echad kvoshim, echad shlokos, no matter if it's a pickled vegetable, shlokos is boiled vegetable, if you squeeze it, lemeimehem, yechayiv chatos. It's an issur d'oraisa. And the Gemara says further that he says that it's as if you're being seichit zeisim v'anovim lemeimehem, and therefore yechayiv chatos. Tosfos brings a shita of Rabbeinu Chananel that says that since Rabbi Yochanan was soisim, and he didn't say there's a difference if you're being seichit into a kteira or a kaira, if there's food in the dish or not, it sounds like it doesn't make a difference, and no matter what, yechayiv chatas. That means that the Gemara says before that it's mutter to be chayil of eiz l'seich kteira because the eiz is oichel m'teich oichel. That means since it's going directly into a kteira full of food, that's considered that you're squeezing from a oichel to a oichel, and it's not mefarik. And since Rabbi Yochanan wasn't machalik, you see, he doesn't hold like that. On that, Tosfos asks, it's not true. Even Rav Shmuel that the Gemara brings before is not machalik. So how did the Rabbeinu Chananel see from Rabbi Yochanan that he holds even if you squeeze the kdeira, it's considered mefarik? Many other Rishonim also is a kasha on Rabbeinu Chananel. So to answer this shita of Rabbeinu Chananel, there's a mahalach in the Achronim, Ayin Minchas Baruch and Evi Ezri, that say a similar mahalach that Rabbeinu Chananel saw in the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan, that he holds that even the seich k'deira, which is oichel to oichel, is mefarik. And the Minchas Baruch says, although the Gemara says that oichel, the teich oichel, is not mefarik, that's because you're taking A's and being seicheted into a oichel, so the mashka that comes out never had a din of a mashka and went directly into the food, and it was always a oichel. But lu yitzur, it would get a din mashka before it goes into the oichel, it would be considered Sechita because it has a din mashka. Only because it never was chala din mashka is it not Sechita. So therefore, Minchas Baruch explains that over here we're talking about kvoshim and shlokis that had water in it from either wine or vinegar that was cooked with. So that's external liquid. So that liquid, HaKorach had a din of a mashka, and that din mashka never left. So since it never left, so therefore even the Teich Eichel would not have the milo of being Sechet Eichel to Seich Eichel, because HaKorach it's a mashka. And since Rabbi Yochanan was medama that to Zeisim v'Anovim, so therefore you see he holds also by Zeisim v'Anovim, you squeeze grapes that's now being chalad in mashka into a k'deira is also mefarik. So you see he does not hold of the halacha of mashka nabola oichel ka oichel dami. Ayin ibshach that it has a similar mahalach, but he says the nekuda is that mefarik doesn't have to be mashka from a oichel or oichel from a oichel. The point is, mefarik is you're taking one thing out of the next, like the chita out of its shaft, or the juice out of a fruit. But how much it's oichel mitoich oichel, that means you're just taking off a piece, you're cutting off a piece, you're not taking out. For mefarik, you have to be taking out. So therefore, when you have kvoshim, that the water came from outside, the yayin and the chimetz came from outside, al-korchoch, even if it has a din like a oichel, it will be considered mefarik, because it's a separate entity. The only reason why oichel doesn't have a din of mefarik is because it's like separating between the oichel, separating the two oichels. But over here, you're taking out a second entity that will have a din of mefarik and wouldn't have the maila of oichel metoich oichel. So then he says the same thing as Minchas Baruch. So Korcha, you see that Rabbi Yochanan doesn't hold of this halacha of mashke the teich habola oichels ka oichel dami. Moving further on, the Gemara says ein eidi pe'eid kashel eidus is isha belvad. And the Gemara says lemute eidus bechar. And the Gemara says hilchasa eidi pe'eid is kashel eidus bechar. This Gemara is tzarichi in Gadol. Reb Chaim says in Moving Birchas Shmuel, what's the havana in Eid mipi-eid? What's the psul of Eid mipi-eid? Is because the second Eid didn't see a Eidus Riyah v'Yediyah. He just saw from the first Eid. And the first Eid didn't say his Eidus in Bezdin, so that it should be Chal, the Nemonus of the Eidus. The first Eid just told the second Eid. So if there'll be a case that you won't need Eidus in Bezdin, so then certainly there wouldn't be a psul of Eid mipi-eid. So Bishloima by Eidus Isha, which is Erva, so and Chazal will make you only need one Eid, so you need Allah and Eidus and Bezdin, so pertain the Allah of Eid mipi-eid. But by Eidus of Bechar, where you don't need Eidus and Bezdin, it's Pasha l'chayr that shouldn't be halacha of Eid mipi-eid. And I saw the Birchas Avraham Yesta'ara, and he says maybe that's good for the Shail and the Gemara on the tzad that will be possible is because you need a Eidus and Bezdin, the tzarech